In the prior unit, we learned descriptive statistics for summarizing what we know about a single variable and inferential statistics about comparisons for two or more variables. In this unit, we focused on building models that describe the relationship between two or more variables. Building models that describe relationships is a powerful decision-making tool because we can measure what effect a change in Y should have for a change in X, e.g., how sales might increase based on advertising spending. And models that describe relationships based on past data are actually the fundamental technology behind many recent breakthroughs in machine learning and artificial intelligence. The unit began with an introduction to regression analysis. We next focused on techniques for predictive analysis and forecasting. The unit concluded with a discussion of validation and testing and the use of machine learning and AI for refining and improving predictive models. This unit addresses the requirement that data analytics reports communicate and support decision makers and are not simply quantitative calculations and tables. The unit begins with an emphasis on the new appreciation of the role of data analytics as an organizational asset and describes resources and strategies needed to build that excellence within the firm. Next, the unit focuses on the individual data presentation and the need to approach each data presentation as educational opportunities and opportunities for data storytelling, which lead the reader through the presentation and focuses the decision maker on the more important characters in that story. The unit concludes with demonstrations of visualizations and visualization software and tips for creating well-formatted visualizations that communicate insights that influence decisions. This topic introduces the fundamentals of the communication techniques for presenting data in the format best for the organization and best for the decision and decision makers. The topic begins with the concept of a data strategy and the organizational objectives and constraints of appropriate data strategy. Next, we introduce the concept of the data story and the requirements to align your responsibility to align the data presentation to the objectives of the decision maker. The topic concludes with examples of various charts and visualizations and the reasons for choosing the appropriate chart type for the data being presented. Your data strategy should be more than a vision statement. It needs to be a clear, practical framework that helps you make confident decisions, drive measurable outcomes, and adapt to what's next, whether that's rising data complexity, rapid market shifts, or pressure to support AI across the org. A modern data strategy gives you the structure to meet those demands. It clarifies priorities, aligns teams, and contains a roadmap to guide and track progress on your data initiatives. In this blog, we discuss the key components of a data strategy, plus get access to our data strategy stakeholder interview guide to help you shape a data strategy that gets adopted. What is a data strategy? And what it's not? A data strategy is the foundation for all your data practices. It's a long-term, guiding plan that defines the people, processes, and technology necessary to solve your data challenges and support your business goals. A data strategy isn't a quick fix for your data problems, and it addresses more than just data. It serves business needs through the lens of data, anticipating what needs to happen to meet your company's specific objectives. A successful data strategy clarifies how employees can use data more effectively, which processes ensure access and data quality, what tech and architecture support data storage, sharing, and analysis. The goal of a data strategy is to answer the question of how the entire organization can leverage data in support of making optimized business decisions and build a plan that defines the people, processes, and technology to bring it to life. Why is a data strategy important? Without a modern data strategy to guide your data practices, you risk making poor decisions, missing opportunities, and stalling innovation. Specifically, you're likely facing common data challenges such as inability to make timely or proactive decisions because reporting represents the past, not utilizing or misusing advanced approaches like generative or agentic AI, A tech stack that doesn't scale with evolving needs and has low adoption across the org. Locked into a single vendor for various parts of the data lifecycle. Inconsistent, poorly defined, or undocumented definitions for metrics and KPIs. Too many manual practices and time spent on data prep and integration. Data quality and data access issues. Data stuck in silos and departments working from different truths. Users too dependent on IT. A modern data strategy turns scattered efforts into a unified, organization-wide plan. As AI, automation, and self-service analytics are now table stakes for remaining competitive, a strong data strategy ensures your business is positioned to adapt and take on new opportunities with confidence. Yet most organizations allocate only 14% of their AI and analytics budgets to strategy itself, underinvesting in the foundation that determines whether these initiatives deliver results. Your data strategy framework anchors all your data initiatives. It keeps you focused, aligned, and ready to adapt when demands shift, new tools emerge, or business priorities evolve. Are 5 elements of a data strategy. We've helped more than 1,000 companies with varying levels of analytical maturity craft their modern data strategy and make better use of data. Our extensive experience has resulted in identifying the following key components of a data strategy. 1. Alignment with business objectives. Your data initiatives must solve real business needs to deliver value. Without this focus, you risk prioritizing the wrong projects, missed insights, losing trust in your data, and ultimately, wasted time and resources. When your data initiatives align with company goals and stakeholder needs, you gain business buy-in, making it easier to execute your data strategy and see faster returns on your investments. How to align your data strategy with your business objectives. Identify your organization's current objectives and the KPIs being used to measure success. Identify departmental business drivers that could be positively impacted by improved data and analytics. Demonstrate how planned data initiatives directly support departmental activities and advance overall business objectives. A step you can't miss: stakeholder interviews. Stakeholder interviews serve 2 purposes. They provide the inputs you need to shape a strategy that solves business problems, and they inspire buy-in. This is your time to document the business drivers each team is focused on, the questions they're trying to answer, and what's needed to get there. Interview executives and department leaders to uncover their current state, KPIs, tools, reports, data sources, dependencies, etc. Overall goals and what they are trying to accomplish. Specific questions they want answered. Where gaps exist in their processes, tech stack, and people. Download Stakeholder Interview Guide. Use this questionnaire to guide productive conversations with key stakeholders and get the input you need to build your data strategy. About this questionnaire. Interview questions for executives/C-suite. Interview questions for department leads. Interview questions for IT leads. We've broken out the questions by 3 stakeholder groups: the executives/C-suite, department leads, and IT leads. Use the role-specific questions to capture KPIs, pain points, dependencies. These inputs will shape the use cases to include in your data strategy roadmap. Ask the right questions to build your data strategy. Download the full Data Strategy Stakeholder Interview Guide for a complete list of role-specific interview questions. The stakeholder interviews are critical to forming a data strategy that is evidence-based, and it's the difference between a strategy that gets adopted and one that becomes expensive shelfware. Questions for the C-suite should lean toward how data supports corporate objectives so that you can discover what may help or hinder data strategy progress. What is your vision for the company in the next 3 to 5 years? Do you have specific architecture or tool preferences? What do you need to see to gauge the performance of the business? How interested are you in utilizing agentic AI for self-service analytics? Questions for business unit leaders and IT functions should equip you with everything you need to formulate use cases for your data strategy roadmap. What KPIs matter most to your team, and are there any missing that you need? What is the process for data ingestion, transformation, and mapping? What is your anticipated data volume growth annually for next 3 to 5 years? When stakeholders see their needs reflected in the data strategy, they're far more likely to champion it. 2. Modern data stack. With so many data and analytics technologies available, it is easy to get distracted or overwhelmed by the options. Don't chase hype. Stay focused on your strategic goals. When selecting your tech stack, think bigger than your reporting needs. Your tools should work cohesively to support a scalable architecture, streamline workflows across the entire data lifecycle, and make data teams more efficient. Your technology should also promote agility so you can easily tackle what's next on your roadmap, whether that's self-service analytics, retiring legacy systems, or AI-driven use cases that rely on clean, connected data. To navigate the noise and choose a tech stack that works best for your org. Use established methodologies and proven tech combos. Use combinations that are known to work well together and support a scalable architecture, i.e., Databricks plus dbt plus Sigma. Address the entire data lifecycle. Ensure each stage has the right technology and processes in place to maintain data integrity and produce the most value. This image represents the tech stack for a Fortune 500 pharma organization that is leading their industry in data-driven innovation. Choose platforms that support structured and unstructured data. The ability to leverage data from a broader range of data sources gives AI solutions a fuller, more contextual understanding of your business. Build with governance in mind. Look for tools with built-in governance capabilities like automated access controls, lineage tracking, and audit logs that enforce policies without slowing teams down. Focus on how the tech empowers your people to be more data-driven. Choose tools based on user relevance, accessibility across the org, and performance needs. Ask yourself, who will use the tech and does it meet their needs? Are business users able to extract important insights intuitively and quickly? Can teams across the org easily access and act on data? Do the tools speed up data processes and allow data teams to focus on higher value work? 3. Data governance. Data governance is necessary for consistent, high-quality data and analytics. Without it, you run the risk of using data inappropriately, low analytics adoption, and redundant data practices. Done right, it creates confidence in your data and guarantees AI readiness. If your governance practices are weak or inconsistent, your analytics and AI outputs will reflect that, inaccuracy and risk included. There are powerful governance tools integrated into data platforms that can make governance more seamless, e.g. Unity Catalog and Databricks, but data governance itself is not a software application or tool. Governance is a managed function that requires clear policies and a plan encompassing your people, processes, and technology to meet internal and external data standards, e.g. GDPR, CCPA, and PCI DSS. Make it right-sized and practical. Implementing data governance carries a high risk of low adoption if not done correctly and can get costly fast. To avoid this, the data governance program you outline in your data strategy should match your company's needs, size, urgency, maturity, and capabilities. For example, organizations just getting started with governance may immediately benefit by establishing a business glossary that defines all available end-user measures and dimensions, while more mature organizations harnessing AI may need to update their org chart to establish clear accountability for AI outputs. Tips for a successful data governance program. Make governance practical, not overbearing. Adoption of your data solutions happens when data governance is realistic and can be integrated into everyday workflows and operations without major disruption. Make it people-centric, not technology-centric. While technology assists in reliable execution of data governance, a governance program succeeds when people drive work that results in higher quality, trusted data. Start where data quality issues cause the most pain. Focus on high-impact areas and build on the momentum from those wins to keep expanding governance. Align to business needs. Like all your data initiatives, governance should support the goals of the business above all else. You'll get buy-in when you illustrate how governance initiatives support strategic objectives, such as operational efficiency and innovation. Make it adaptable. A successful governance program evolves with your organization's data maturity and business priorities. As data governance activities expand and more people take on data governance responsibilities, each new component should be assessed and formally integrated into your program. 4. Scalable talent strategy. Talent is critical to a data strategy. Without the right people in the right roles, your investments in technology, processes, and plans will fail to deliver. People are the key to executing your data strategy and creating a data-driven culture. A strong data team depends on 3 things: the operating model, team structure, and enablement. Operating model. Define your operating model, which is how the data team works to support the business. There are many operating models, but most can be classified as decentralized, centralized, or hybrid. Your operating model shapes your org chart and the level of governance, autonomy, and collaboration needed across teams. Centralized operating model concentrates ownership within a core data team that serves the entire org. This model promotes consistency and control and can be ideal for early-stage or highly regulated orgs. Decentralized operating model distributes responsibilities across departments, where each unit manages its own data resources. This model speeds up domain-specific insights, but there is risk for inconsistent use of data without the right governance. Hybrid operating model combines both approaches, but typically has a central data platform and data team responsible for overall infrastructure and governance, while business units have embedded and dedicated data professionals. Team structure. Data teams look very different than they did even 5 years ago. Cloud platforms and AI have reshaped how data gets delivered and who's involved. Teams are less siloed, less reactive, and more focused on driving business outcomes, not just fulfilling requests. That shift directly impacts how you structure your team and define responsibilities. Do you have the technical talent to support activities across the full data lifecycle? Have you clearly defined, documented, and aligned roles and responsibilities to your data strategy? Take stock of where your gaps are and determine a plan to hire or upskill existing talent. Training and enablement. Your modern data strategy will introduce new technologies, responsibilities, and ways of working. Whether it's development workflows or innovations with AI, your teams need to know not just what's changing, but why it matters and how to adapt. Focus enablement on business context so teams understand how their work contributes to outcomes. Core data literacy across business functions. Ongoing skill development, including tool and platform-specific training. Practical guidance for responsible and productive AI use. Clarity fosters accountability. Make sure your teams understand their expectations, how they'll be supported, and how success will be measured. 5. Data Strategy Roadmap. Your data strategy roadmap is a structured, time-bound plan for executing on your data strategy. It factors in your current organizational maturity and articulates what steps should be taken, in what order, and by whom, to reach your goals. The roadmap should include prioritized initiatives aligned to business goals, preliminary tech and talent considerations, key milestones and timelines, and known risks or dependencies. No roadmap is complete without a thoughtful timeline to execute all planned activities in your data strategy. Prioritization matters. Strategic prioritization prevents wasted effort and allows you to take a measured approach to resource planning. Before changing your tools, processes, or teams, get clear on which data initiatives should occur first and why. For each initiative outlined in your data strategy, define the feasibility and expected business value it will provide. Prioritize activities that are easiest to implement but expected to return high value to the business. A prioritization matrix helps identify the high feasibility/high value projects that should kick off data and analytics initiatives. Other factors to consider when plotting your path forward. Staffing and availability, including whether you'll need to hire or bring in outside help. Cost and your company's budgeting process, especially if a capital investment is required. Competing projects that may impact timing or prevent key resources from participating. Major company milestones, like product launches or M&A, that could reshape priorities midstream. Key takeaways. A modern data strategy aligns people, processes, and technology to make data accessible, trustworthy, and actionable in support of business goals. An effective data strategy starts with alignment to business objectives, using stakeholder input to define outcome-driven use cases. Stakeholder interviews are the foundation of adoption. They capture real business needs and secure buy-in, making your strategy executable instead of shelfware. A modern data strategy requires the right data stack, scalable, cohesive, and governance-ready, to support analytics, AI, and future growth. Data governance is a core part of any data strategy. Practical, people-driven, and adaptable governance ensures high-quality, trusted data and compliance. A strong talent strategy underpins data strategy execution by defining operating models, clarifying roles, and building data literacy across teams. A data strategy roadmap provides the structure and prioritization needed to focus resources on the highest value, most feasible initiatives. Modern data strategies must evolve. Iteration keeps the roadmap relevant as business priorities, tools, and technologies change. 10 steps to improve your data communication and 1 to avoid. Sourcing data, running the analysis, and coming up with meaningful results is only half the battle. Now you need to present your findings in a way that garners interest and possible change. So, how can you effectively communicate the results of your analyses to the change makers in your organization? Number 01, know your audience. Data communication and data storytelling are an important, but often underutilized, aspect of data analysis. In an interview with Forbes magazine, Dr. Stephanie Evergreen, author of Presenting Data Effectively, Communicating Your Findings for Maximum Impact, states, "We often forget how hard it is to be a consumer of data. It's great that everything has become so data-driven, but I think we have so much of it that we have what I have been calling the burden of knowledge. That means that we know so much. It's hard to talk about it to people who don't know. As you gain more expertise, it becomes harder to put yourself in the head of your audience. To be an effective communicator, you need to make your point as clear as possible. You need to know your audience and contextualize the information in a way they will understand and take to heart." Take a look at the graph below, a hexbin plot, as an example of what analysts or other technical audiences might present to one another. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. Great for analysts, not so great for your non-technical stakeholders. Image from MS SQL Tips. Here, you see that the relationship between profit and unit price are linear. As one goes up, so does the other. You can also see where most of the data in this relationship lies, indicated by hexagons with more saturated color. This is great for analysts as it conveys a lot of information about the data. It could be harder for non-technical audiences to understand. Instead, a basic line graph would be better for stating a simple, yet impactful message. Number 02, humanize your numbers. Numbers, while great at quantifying information, are not the best when it comes to communicating real-life impact. Forbes suggests humanizing these numbers in ways that allow us to personally connect with the information, using specific words, colors, basic graphs, or even images. We read tables, but we see charts. One of the easiest ways to humanize data is to replace a table with an eye-catching, simple graph. Remember, we read tables, but we see charts and graphs. Now, some of us love a table, but this is not the norm. Most people will ignore a basic table, even if it is extremely informative, because it takes time to read. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. From the article, Young Workers Like Facebook, Apple, and Google, Wall Street Journal. This table is from a Wall Street Journal article that surveyed where young professionals would most like to work. Now, compare it to this bar chart. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. This graph is by no means perfect, but you can start to see the visual impact of the graph and instantaneously see what company was the top pick in the survey without having to read a table. Graphics that catch the eye of the audience help connect data to the world at large, making us think about more widespread implications. It puts the data into a context more people will understand, remember, and care about. Number 03, simplify your charts. Data is complicated. When it comes to data visualizations, simplicity is key. Visualizations should communicate difficult information in a clear, concise manner. Keep graphs and charts uncluttered, clean, and simple to ensure your main points are understood by your audience. To keep charts simple, keep in mind the data-ink ratio, the amount of ink used to represent the data compared to the amount of ink used for non-essential parts like background colors and extra text. Generally, you can remove grid lines, borders, unnecessary text and numbers. Let the actual data stand out. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. Edward Tufte, The Visual Display of Quantitative Information, 2001. The chart on the left has a low data ink ratio, which has lots of extra aesthetics not pertinent to the data, versus the chart on the right with a high data ink ratio, which has the unnecessary aesthetics removed. A well-structured visualization, along with a captive title and clear labels, can be extremely effective to share insights and convey a message. Because it is easier to look at and thus interpret, your audience is more likely to be engaged and take the information to heart. Number 04, call to action. There is more to a presentation or report than just sharing information. You want to trigger some human response. Add a call to action, also known as insight to action. After presenting factual visualizations, encourage your audience to use this knowledge to take action and transform, be it at the individual level or the wider organizational level. Your choice of charts, colors, images, and words should be used in a way that triggers an immediate response, so choose wisely. Including too much detail can cause the main message to be lost. Look at the image below. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. Whilst not perfect, the picture conveys that there is a lot of plastic being used throughout Europe, and one of the largest sources is from packaging. Perhaps you work in manufacturing, or your company simply wants to become more green or sustainable through greater recycling efforts. This image shows where there are opportunities to reduce plastic use to make the greatest environmental impact. If you feel your audience needs more information, you can add a list of resources or references in an appropriate place that they can refer to in the future. Keep in mind the message in the image above could be enhanced by the use of different colors to emphasize packaging in contrast to the other categories. This leads us to the next key tip, choosing your colors. Number 05, color is important. Choose wisely. Humans are extremely visual, and the colors we choose can drastically change how we perceive information. Using the default multicolor preset charts in software packages like Excel is one of the most common mistakes. Instead, use an emphasis or call to action color. It will immediately draw the eye to the exact part of the graph you want your audience to see first. De-emphasize everything else using grayscale or a neutral color. Your audience will understand the message and its impact quickly and easily. Get decoded stories in your inbox. Join Medium for free to get updates from this writer. Subscribe. Take a look at our earlier bar graph. Remember how I said it wasn't perfect? Let's make some improvements. Here's the graph with the default color scheme. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. And here it is using a custom color scheme with a single emphasis color. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. Here's another example changing a default color scheme, top graph, to using a single emphasis color, bottom graph. Default color schemes make it difficult to determine the takeaway message. Using a single emphasis color to highlight health and a light gray to de-emphasize all other categories. The first graph is technically accurate, but it's hard to determine the takeaway message. If you're trying to prove that health-based nonprofits have seen an approximately 20% increase in support from area funders since 2011, which graph would you choose? Which will elicit a stronger, more emotional response from your audience? Which one is easier to interpret on a Zoom call? Also note that the graph on the right also utilizes a high data ink ratio to further simplify the graph. Number 06. Use words sparingly. A good visualization has as few words as possible, since you are telling a story with images. Words, while important, need to be used sparingly and convey as much meaning as possible, similar to poetry. What is present needs to be both useful and impactful. Start by making titles more specific, eliminating the need for additional subtitles. This saves space, reduces clutter, and avoids confusion with ambiguous, generic terms. Relate the title to your insights. If sales went up or down in a certain department, use that for your title and use the graph to reinforce that finding. The results of your analysis do not need to be a surprise. In fact, you should make it clear from the beginning and use the visuals to reinforce your findings. Which leads to number 07. Flip the order. Take a different approach to reports. Don't use the standard academic structure. Starting with the background and ending with the results and conclusions has been ingrained into us throughout our education. This traditional approach just doesn't capture your audience's attention very well, leaving them to either A, believe your findings are not that important, or B, just lose interest. Instead, try flipping the order. Start with the actions, findings, and conclusions, and then move on to the background and importance of the project. This is referred to as giving the bottom line up front. Number 08. Tell a good story. Use your data to tell a compelling story. Storytelling is an ancient form of human communication. Stories have the power to translate complex ideas across cultural and generational boundaries. They inspire feeling, meaning, and memory, and they're persuasive. Stories stick. And if you're trying to engage a group of Zoom-fatigued colleagues, something sticky is exactly what you need. Data stories have a few characteristics in common. Have a strong narrative driven by a business problem or objective. Present findings in ways the audience will understand and be able to identify with. Conclude with what actions need to be taken and possible consequences. A former story artist at Pixar once published a list of 22 rules for storytelling. 4 of these rules stand out, relevant to anyone that communicates using data. You gotta keep in mind what's interesting to you as an audience, not what's fun to do as a writer. They can be very different. Come up with your ending before you figure out your middle. Seriously. Endings are hard. Get yours working up front. Putting it on paper lets you start fixing it. If it stays in your head, a perfect idea, you'll never share it with anyone. What's the essence of your story? Most economical telling of it? If you know that, you can build out from there. No matter your goal, communication is vital to any successful project or pitch. You should always be thinking about how to create a narrative that can be easily understood by any type of audience. With presentations, the importance is not in the data itself, but what it means. Your connections between the data and your conclusions need to be as clear as possible, with no room for ambiguity. Ensure that each image or graph in your presentation illustrates only one major point, one slide, one graph, or image, one point. Number 09, be curious. Be creative. Data visualization is increasingly becoming dynamic and interactive. In fact, many companies are choosing to steer away from traditional presentation or report formats, instead choosing more interactive alternatives like videos and games, as well as taking inspiration from data journalism with innovative and high-impact techniques like scrollytelling. Take the Intercontinental Hotels Group, IHG, where their analytics teams create 5-minute, self-contained videos to convey the broad concepts behind their results, rather than specifically discussing the data. These videos are followed by verbal presentations where the data is explored in more depth. The videos are about the main message, getting it across to a wide and varied audience in a simple and effective and engaging way. They act as a primer to set expectations and the main idea, which helps focus the audience for later discussion. Keep an eye out for creative and effective examples of data communication and save them for future use. Want to dive in and get hands-on? There are so many tools and tutorials out there to really stretch and develop your data visualization skills. Number 10, consider your platforms. At least half of your audience will probably end up reading your reports on some type of mobile device. However, most reports are still structured as though they will be printed out to be read. This seems a little outdated these days. If your audience will be consuming your data insights outside of a meeting or presentation, think mobile first. Mobile first design is a mantra in the world of web design and development, but it should be part of your data communication toolkit too. Let's say you're scrolling through a web page or app on your phone and suddenly you're faced with a blank white screen. You wait for it to load and wait and wait. It's traditional to leave blank pages in formal written reports, a holdover from when pages were printed out. But if a user is scrolling through a report hosted online, they might think that a blank page means the report hasn't finished loading or that they've come to the end. They could miss some really vital information or just lose interest. Similarly, including information that is not strictly relevant increases the chances of your findings being ignored. When optimizing reports for a fast-paced, mobile user world, brevity and clarity is ideal. What not to do? Whilst you may be comfortable with technical terms and methods from your own area of expertise, keep in mind that your audience may not. Yes, we know we keep talking about your audience, but communication is, literally, a two-way street. All too often, data communication is ordered in terms of the sequence of tasks that were performed, glossing over the main takeaways, using unnecessary terminology or jargon, and leaving the audience confused. Your audience is generally unconcerned with the methods. They want the results and any implications for the organization. Remember, it is not necessary to share every single idea, fact, or data point in a presentation. In fact, it would be counterintuitive, since most people will not pay attention to that level of detail. You should avoid this if at all possible. If it is important to include the method and any technical terms, it can be included in an appendix of a report or presentation. But this should not be the main focus of your communication and should be limited to other technical audiences and/or team members who will understand the technical aspects of the project. Final thoughts. Remember, data is a strong tool, but its power is often reliant on your ability to communicate its importance. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but by using these steps, you'll continue to grow your data communication skills, making clearer, more impactful visualizations that not only engage your audience, but enact positive change too. 10 clean data presentation examples for clear communication. Presenting data clearly isn't as simple as dropping numbers into a chart. It's a real challenge. In fact, 40% of business professionals often struggle to make sense of their data in spreadsheets. To make it easier, I've handpicked examples from Vengage's most used data presentation templates. Without the right visuals, your message risks being ignored, misinterpreted, or rejected. As Carly Fiorina, former CEO of Hewlett-Packard, once said, "The goal is to turn data into information and information into insight." In this guide, you'll find practical data presentation examples and methods, tips for choosing the right visual style, templates designed to simplify complex ideas, how to use Vengage's free chart maker to bring it all together. Let's dive in and make your data story shine. Create an impactful data story. 10 essential data presentation examples plus methods you should know. Data presentation is a vital skill because it turns raw information into clear insights, helping people make informed decisions quickly. Whether you're in business, academia, or simply want to share ideas more effectively, understanding different ways to present data is essential. As Ben Schneiderman, professor of computer science at the University of Maryland, put it, visualization gives you answers to questions you didn't know you had. With that in mind, here are some essential data presentation methods for impactful storytelling. 1. Bar graph. Ideal for comparing data across categories or showing trends over time. Bar graphs, also known as bar charts, are workhorses of data presentation. Bar charts are one of the most common ways to display information in a visual format, making them a popular choice in business presentations and high school textbooks. They're like the Swiss Army knives of visualization methods because they can be used to compare data in different categories or display data changes over time. In a bar chart, categories are displayed on the x-axis and the corresponding values are represented by the height of the bars on the y-axis. Customize this bar graph. It's a straightforward and effective way to showcase raw data, making it a staple in business reports, academic presentations, and beyond. Make sure your bar charts are concise with easy-to-read labels. Whether your bars go up or sideways, keep it simple by not overloading with too many categories. Customize this bar graph. 2. Line graph. Great for displaying trends and variations in data points over time or continuous variables. Line charts or line graphs are your go-to when you want to visualize trends and variations in data sets over time. Line charts are more popular than all other graphs combined because their visual characteristics reveal data trends clearly, and these charts are easy to create. One of the best quantitative data presentation examples, they work exceptionally well for showing continuous data, such as sales projections over the last couple of years or supply and demand fluctuations. Customize this line graph. The x-axis represents time, or a continuous variable, and the y-axis represents the data values. By connecting the data points with lines, you can easily spot trends and fluctuations. A tip when presenting data with line charts is to minimize the lines and not make it too crowded. Highlight the big changes, put on some labels, and give it a catchy title. Customize this line graph. 3. Pie chart. Useful for illustrating parts of a whole, such as percentages or proportions. Pie charts are ideal for showing how a whole is divided into parts, making them one of the most common choices in business presentations for illustrating proportions or distributions. They're commonly used to represent percentages or proportions and are great for presenting survey results that involve demographic data. Each slice of the pie represents a portion of the whole, and the size of each slice corresponds to its share of the total. Customize this pie chart. While pie charts are handy for illustrating simple distributions, they can become confusing when dealing with too many categories or when the differences in proportions are subtle. Don't get too carried away with slices. Label those slices with percentages or values so people know what's what and consider using a legend for more categories. Customize this pie chart. 4. Scatter plot. Effective for showing the relationship between two variables and identifying correlations. Scatter plots are all about exploring relationships between two variables. They're great for uncovering correlations, trends, or patterns in data. In a scatter plot, every data point appears as a dot on the chart, with one variable marked on the horizontal x-axis and the other on the vertical y-axis. Customize this scatter plot chart. By examining the scatter of points from heat map software, you can discern the nature of the relationship between the variables, whether it's positive, negative, or no correlation at all. If you're using scatter plots to reveal relationships between two variables, be sure to add trend lines or regression analysis when appropriate to clarify patterns. Label data points selectively or provide tooltips for detailed information. Customize this scatter plot chart. 5. Histogram. Best for visualizing the distribution and frequency of a single variable. Histograms are your choice when you want to understand the distribution and frequency of a single variable. They divide the data into bins or intervals, and the height of each bar represents the frequency or count of data points falling into that interval. Customize this histogram. Histograms are excellent for helping to identify trends in data distributions, such as peaks, gaps, or skewness. Here's something to take note of. Ensure that your histogram bins are appropriately sized to capture meaningful data patterns. Using clear axis labels and titles can also help explain the distribution of the data effectively. Customize this histogram. 6. Stacked bar chart. Useful for showing how different components contribute to a whole over multiple categories. Stacked bar charts are a handy choice when you want to illustrate how different components contribute to a whole across multiple categories. Each bar represents a category, and the bars are divided into segments to show the contribution of various components within each category. Customize this stacked chart. This method is ideal for highlighting both the individual and collective significance of each component, making it a valuable tool for comparative analysis. Stacked bar charts are like data sandwiches. Label each layer so people know what's what. Keep the order logical, and don't forget the paintbrush for snazzy colors. Here's a data analysis presentation example on writers' productivity using stacked bar charts. Customize this stacked chart. 7. Area chart. Similar to line charts, but with the area below the lines filled, making them suitable for showing cumulative data. Area charts are close cousins of line charts, but come with a twist. Imagine plotting the sales of a product over several months. In an area chart, the space between the line and the x-axis is filled, providing a visual representation of the cumulative total. Customize this area chart. This makes it easy to see how values stack up over time, making area charts a valuable tool for tracking trends in data. For area charts, use them to visualize cumulative data and trends, but avoid overcrowding the chart. Add labels, especially at significant points, and make sure the area under the lines is filled with a visually appealing color gradient. Customize this area chart. 8. Tabular presentation. Presenting data in rows and columns, often used for precise data values and comparisons. Tabular data presentation is all about clarity and precision. Tables are often used in research papers to present data, especially when there is enough data to display and it is easy to read the table. Think of it as presenting numerical data in a structured grid, with rows and columns clearly displaying individual data points. A table is invaluable for showcasing detailed data, facilitating comparisons, and presenting numerical information that needs to be exact. Leveraging CSBM capabilities can help secure and manage sensitive data in cloud-hosted tables, ensuring safe and compliant presentation of information. They're commonly used in reports, spreadsheets, and academic papers. Customize this table. When presenting tabular data, organize it neatly with clear headers and appropriate column widths. Highlight important data points or patterns using shading or font formatting for better readability. 9. Textual data. Utilizing written or descriptive content to explain or complement data, such as annotations or explanatory text. Textual data presentation may not involve charts or graphs, but it's one of the most used qualitative data presentation examples. It involves using written content to provide context, explanations, or annotations alongside data visuals. Think of it as the narrative that guides your audience through the data. Well-crafted textual data can make complex information more accessible and help your audience understand the significance of the numbers and visuals. Textual data is your chance to tell a story. Break down complex information into bullet points or short paragraphs and use headings to guide the reader's attention. 10. Pictogram. Using simple icons or images to represent data is especially useful for conveying information in a visually intuitive manner. Pictograms are all about harnessing the power of images to convey data in an easy-to-understand way. Instead of using numbers or complex graphs, use simple icons or images to represent data points. For instance, you could use a thumbs-up emoji to illustrate customer satisfaction levels, where each face represents a different level of satisfaction. Customize this pictogram. Pictograms work well because they replace abstract numbers with familiar icons, making information easier to grasp at a glance compared to text-heavy charts. Use consistent scaling and a legend to explain the symbols' meanings, ensuring clarity in your presentation. Customize this pictogram. Looking for more data presentation ideas? Use the Venn Graph Maker or browse through our gallery of chart templates to pick a template and get started. That said, strong visuals go beyond charts. For more ways to level up your slides and reports, explore our visual presentation guide. What should be included in a data presentation? A comprehensive data presentation should include several key elements to effectively convey information and insights to your audience. Here's a list of what should be included in a data presentation. 1. Title and objective. Begin with a clear and informative title that sets the context for your presentation. State the primary objective or purpose of the presentation to provide a clear focus. Customize this presentation. 2. Key data points. Present the most essential data points or findings that align with your objective. Use charts, graphical presentations, or visuals to illustrate these key points for better comprehension. Customize this presentation. 3. Context and significance. Provide a brief overview of the context in which the data was collected and why it's significant. Explain how the data relates to the larger picture or the problem you're addressing. 4. Key takeaways. Summarize the main insights or conclusions that can be drawn from the data. Highlight the key takeaways that the audience should remember. 5. Visuals and charts. Use clear and appropriate visual aids to complement the data. Ensure that visuals are easy to understand and support your narrative. Remember this. Clutter and confusion are failures of design, not attributes of information. Edward R. Tufte, Professor Emeritus of Political Science, Statistics, and Computer Science at Yale University. Customize this presentation. 6. Implications or actions. Discuss the practical implications of the data or any recommended actions. If applicable, outline next steps or decisions that should be taken based on the data. Customize this presentation. 7. Q&A and discussion. Allocate time for questions and open discussion to engage the audience. Address queries and provide additional insights or context as needed. What are some common mistakes to avoid when presenting data? Presenting data is a crucial skill in various professional fields, from business to academia and beyond. To ensure your data presentations hit the mark, here are some common mistakes that you should steer clear of. Overloading with data. Presenting too much data at once can overwhelm your audience. Focus on the key points and relevant information to keep the presentation concise and focused. Here are some free data visualization tools you can use to convey data in an engaging and impactful way. Assuming everyone's on the same page. It's easy to assume that your audience understands as much about the topic as you do. But this can lead to either dumbing things down too much or diving into a bunch of jargon that leaves folks scratching their heads. Take a beat to figure out where your audience is coming from and tailor your presentation accordingly. Misleading visuals. Using misleading visuals, such as distorted scales or inappropriate chart types, can distort the data's meaning. Pick the right data infographics and understandable charts to ensure that your visual representations accurately reflect the data. Not providing context. Data without context is like a puzzle piece with no picture on it. Without proper context, data may be meaningless or misinterpreted. Explain the background, methodology, and significance of the data. Not citing sources properly. Neglecting to cite sources and provide citations for your data can erode its credibility. Always attribute data to its source and utilize reliable sources for your presentation. Not telling a story. Avoid simply presenting numbers. A clear and engaging story helps your audience follow the path from background to data analytics to insights. Without that structure, it's easy to lose their attention. Infographics are great for storytelling because they mix cool visuals with short and sweet text to explain complicated stuff in a fun and easy way. Create one with Vengage's free infographic maker to create a memorable story that your audience will remember. Ignoring data quality. Presenting data without first checking its quality and accuracy can lead to misinformation. Validate and clean your data before presenting it. Simplify your visuals. Fancy charts might look impressive, but if they confuse your audience, what's the point? The key is to choose the simplest visual that communicates your message clearly. As Gar Reynolds, author of Presentation Zen, explains, you can achieve simplicity in the design of effective charts, graphs, and tables by remembering 3 fundamental principles: restrain, reduce, emphasize. Still torn between using infographics or data design? This guide on the difference between data design and infographics can help you decide. Missing the emotional connection. Data isn't just about numbers. It's about people and real-life situations. Don't forget to sprinkle in some human touch, whether it's through relatable stories, examples, or showing how the data impacts real lives. Skipping the actionable insights. At the end of the day, your audience wants to know what they should do with all the data. If you don't wrap up with clear, actionable insights or recommendations, you're leaving them hanging. Always finish up with practical takeaways and the next steps. FAQs on data presentation examples. Can you provide some data presentation examples for business reports? Business reports often benefit from data presentation through bar charts showing sales trends over time, pie charts displaying market share, or tables presenting financial performance metrics like revenue and profit margins. What are some creative data presentation examples for academic presentations? Creative data presentation ideas for academic presentations include using statistical infographics to illustrate research findings and statistical data, incorporating storytelling techniques to engage the audience, or utilizing heat maps to visualize data patterns. What are the key considerations when choosing the right data presentation format? When choosing a chart format, consider factors like data complexity, audience expertise, and the message you want to convey. Options include charts, e.g., bar, line, pie, tables, heat maps, data visualization infographics, and interactive dashboards. Knowing the type of data visualization that best serves your data is just half the battle. Here are some best practices for data visualization to make sure that the final output is optimized. How can I choose the right data presentation method for my data? To select the right data presentation method, start by defining your presentation's purpose and audience. Then, match your data type, e.g., quantitative, qualitative, with suitable visualization techniques, e.g., histograms, word clouds, and choose an appropriate presentation format, e.g., slide deck, report, live demo. For more presentation ideas, check out this guide on how to make a good presentation or use a presentation software to simplify the process. How can I make my data presentations more engaging and informative? To enhance data presentations, use compelling narratives, relatable examples, and fun data infographics that simplify complex data. Encourage audience interaction, offer actionable insights, and incorporate storytelling elements to engage and inform effectively. The opening of your presentation holds immense power in setting the stage for your audience. To design a presentation and convey your data in an engaging and informative, try out Vengage's free presentation maker to pick the right presentation design for your audience and topic. What is the difference between data visualization and data presentation? Data presentation typically involves conveying data reports and insights to an audience, often using visuals like charts and graphs. Data visualization, on the other hand, focuses on creating those visual representations of data to facilitate understanding and analysis. Transform your message with impactful data storytelling. Now that you've learned a thing or two about how to use these methods of data presentation to tell a compelling data story, it's time to take these strategies and make them your own. But here's the deal. These aren't just one-size-fits-all solutions. Remember that each example we've uncovered here is not a rigid template, but a source of inspiration. It's all about making your audience go, wow, I get it now. Think of your data presentations as your canvas. It's where you paint your story, convey meaningful insights, and make real change happen. So go forth, present your data with confidence and purpose, and watch as your strategic influence grows, one compelling presentation at a time. This topic introduced the fundamentals of the communication techniques for presenting data in the format best for the organization and best for the decision and decision makers. The topic began with the concept of a data strategy and the organizational objectives and constraints of appropriate data strategy. Next, we introduced the concept of the data story and the requirements to align your responsibility to align the data presentation to the objectives of the decision maker. The topic concluded with examples of various charts and visualizations and the reasons for choosing the appropriate chart type for the data being presented. This topic further develops the strategy and executing of storytelling with data and the acceptance of the responsibility to maximize the value of data presentations. The topic begins with an introduction to one of the more popular sources of storytelling with data education and tips for drawing the audience's attention to the important objectives of your presentations. Next, we explore the structure of a story and the use of story characters used to present different elements of the story scenario. The topic concludes with examples of creative visualizations and sources for visualization inspiration. This topic further develops the strategy and executing of storytelling with data and the acceptance of the responsibility to maximize the value of data presentations. The topic begins with an introduction to one of the more popular sources of storytelling with data education and tips for drawing the audience's attention to the important objectives of your presentations. Next, we explore the structure of a story and the use of story characters used to present different elements of the story scenario. The topic concludes with examples of creative visualizations and sources for visualization inspiration. About a month ago, I took a look at the book Storytelling with Data by Cole Nussbaumer-Knaflic, given that it is a must-read for people working in the data world, and in this article, I will talk about it by writing a sort of summary of the take-home message of this fantastic work. It will be a sort of concise guide to the main concepts widely explained and covered in the book, and the idea is to give a taste of what the book is all about. The book is meant to be a guide for people who are working or are willing to work in the world of data. More specifically, it is a guide on how to maximize the power of data visualization to tell stories. The author does not give only a few tips on how to present ideas, how to structure a story, and how to use specific tricks to enforce the main message, but also she presents very detailed instructions and useful tips to build the perfect data chart. After reading this book, everyone can have a general idea of how to present data through visualizations in the most efficient way and tell the story behind it. The main feature of this book is its simplicity. The author uses very simple language throughout the different chapters, making the book very easy to understand and follow. It is very challenging to find a section hard to understand because there is none. Let's jump into some details. Understand the context and first steps. Before starting to create a report or a presentation, it is important to understand the who, i.e., to whom we want to talk, and the what, i.e., the things we want to communicate. Based on these two, the first structure of the report and, more importantly, the story to tell can be brought to life, having an idea of how to communicate the results, the tone, and the language to use. In the same context, though, what is crucial to understand how we want to communicate with data, despite the kind of analysis. A live presentation, we want to communicate something using slides. In this case, the control over what we want to communicate is maximized because we can lead the audience where we want to. Even without showing all the details, people tend to ask questions about what they see. A written document, e.g., email, report, we have less control over the audience, and in this case, giving details is crucial because the audience is free to read the document at their own pace, and they will take only the information they want. Another important step before proceeding with the creation of a report is understanding the problem we want to communicate. We must have a clear view of the what, and it is very useful to create a first story to summarize the important points. The author suggests two solutions. 3-minute story. It is a simple and direct summary of all the work done to answer the important questions and to solve the main issues regarding a particular problem, and it is very useful to have a broad but precise idea of the what. Big idea. It is one single sentence summarizing everything in the clearest and fastest way concerning context, results, and final suggestions. This idea can be used at the beginning of a presentation, i.e., to jump directly to the main point of the work, or at the end of it. Once we have a very clear idea about what we want to communicate, we can start creating the report. One suggestion is to do it on paper, e.g., a blank sheet with post-its, because it is simpler to visualize the first structure and to modify it according to what we want to tell. Of course, we can also modify the report while we are doing it on our laptop, but it is always better to have a clear idea before doing it to avoid continuous changes, steps back, and second thoughts. 2. Choose a visual and eliminate clutter. For a particular set of data, it is wise to prepare and try different kinds of charts to find the best one in terms of clarity and tidiness. The author shows that, at the end of the day, there is only a small number of the most effective charts that people can use for communicating with data. Simple numbers, i.e., quantities, percentages, to communicate one single and straight information. Tables and heat maps, to display multiple information or results. Here, attention must be paid to avoid the audience to lose focus while reading a heavy table. For this reason, a suggestion would be highlighting only the cells worth noticing to capture people's eye. Scatterplots and line plots, used for plotting one value against another to show a possible correlation or distribution. Slope graphs, used for showing changing of values in two distinct cases, e.g., on two different dates, easy to understand because it is fast to see whether a slope is decreasing or not. Bar plots, used for categorical data or the combination of these latter with numerical data. In this case, Always start with a common zero baseline to avoid confusion of scales. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. In all those charts, the authors also included the waterfall and square area charts. It is possible to use different colors, sizes, and thicknesses to highlight particular values, useful to communicate the main message of the report, or to hide those that are not important. The author also suggests avoiding 3D charts because they may give a false sense of importance due to the perspective, pie/donut charts, because they are not good if used alone given that it may be hard to compare slices and arches, especially when they are very similar, and secondary axes, given that they may be very hard to understand, and they may lead the audience to pay extra attention to interpret the chart. In all these cases, it may be wise to create a parallel chart, add labels, or change the type of visual. When creating a slide or a report, each chart used for telling an important message must be set with a tidy structure, easy to read, and without distracting and uninformative elements. This clutter can be avoided by following the so-called Gestalt principles of visual perception, i.e. some basic principles that lead our brain to identify patterns and relations between elements. Two or more elements can be considered similar when they are close together, have the same shape or color, when they are inside an enclosed region, or when they are simply connected by a line. Smart use of those principles can help clean charts from useless sections and avoid the addition of extra distracting elements. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. 3. Focus the attention where you want it. Get Sam Campitiello's stories in your inbox. Join Medium for free to get updates from this writer. Subscribe. To maximize the understanding of a message or a result through charts, data, and text must form a tidy structure. This means that each element of a chart must be harmoniously located between the others without creating messing regions or hard-to-understand visuals. Moreover, smart use of alignments, texts, and colors is crucial to connect similar information and give extra details and highlight particular data with respect to others. For example, the main element at the base of our report can be highlighted with dark colors, while the other elements can be pushed in the background by using light colors. An important result inside a table can be highlighted by a dark region and bright bold text to make the audience focus on that point straight away when looking at the table. A word written in bold or with a larger size with respect to the others can be used to drive the audience's attention straight to the main point of A. Text. Press Enter or click to view image in full size. 4. Visual hierarchy. In general, it is important to create a visual hierarchy, i.e. a visible guideline, to help the audience. Using the Gestalt principles, it is possible to set a sort of order for the audience to follow, and it can be done for texts and charts. For example, in a text or a list, big bold font can be used for the title. This will make people look at that first, because it will be very evident. Then a simple bold text can be used for highlighting small titles, e.g. in bullet points, or important words. In this way, people will know that those words are important, and finally the rest of the text can be written with a simple font. If people want, they can go into the details by reading it. In this example, the hierarchy is defined by the smart use of size and boldness of the text. Another example of this hierarchy can be applied to charts. A big title can be put at the top of the chart to tell the audience the meaning of the representation. It may contain keywords to go straight to the point of the visual. Particular results or data can be drawn with thick lines and/or dark colors to drive people's attention directly to the main message contained in the chart. And finally, labels can be added close to the main elements to give extra information, maybe using the same color to connect them. In this example, the path that has been set goes from the title to the main elements of the chart, and in the end, to the explanatory labels, creating a sort of guide for the audience's eye. 5. Tell a story. As seen before, The importance of the who, the what, and the how in the process of preparing a report is vital for creating a 3-minute story and a big idea story. These two can help to have a general and broad idea about a problem and about the work done to solve it. When communicating an important result using data and charts, some very simple suggestions and guidelines can be followed to create a real story that can grasp the audience's attention and make everything more interesting. First of all, in general, very simple language, without the use of acronyms or very hard terminology, and this is valid also for text in charts and visuals, is preferable to establish an informal and relaxed connection with the audience. However, it is important to notice that this is context-dependent and who-dependent. Is it an informal meeting or a communication for top-level people? Therefore, the speech depends on the specific circumstance. To grab the audience's attention, some tricks can be used for achieving that. The story must be something that sounds like yourself, prepared for the audience, and not yourself, and it must not sound like a robotic presentation. The use of examples is a very good practice to show details and concepts that can be hard to understand, especially for the part of the audience that is not completely familiar with the topic of your work. In this context, the use of comparisons can be of great help, e.g., show and tell what will happen if no action is taken to solve a particular problem. To make the most important concept clear and part of the takeaway messages, the use of repetitions is a very clever way to assure that the smart use of the same word or sentence or even symbols, also highlighted in different slides, tells the audience that it is something important and therefore it must be remembered. This can happen also subconsciously. Sometimes it is preferable to go straight to the main point of the presentation without adding uninformative details. However, it is always good to create the context, e.g., give information about the problem, the reason behind the analysis, etc., before anything else, to avoid confusion. 6. Structure of a story. An interesting story is something that catches people's attention straight away, so a good start is crucial. In the beginning, the main characters of the story and the context must be declared in the easiest and clearest way. For example, these characters can be the problem to be solved, the elements and people involved with the problem, and the damage the problem is causing. In this part, a first tension is created by introducing the problem and its effects. The tension is something that can be used up to the first presentation of the possible solution to solve the problem. For example, smart use of questions, e.g., is the company going to fail? Is this solution enough to solve the problem? May strengthen the initial tension, and it may lead the audience to wonder about the possible outcomes. Finally, in the last part of the story, the resolution of the problem will release the tension grown in the previous steps. Here, data and charts can be used for supporting the solution to the problem and the decisions that must be taken. Despite the structure described above, a story can be set in 2 different ways, depending on how you want to start it. The most common choice is to tell the audience the same chronological process you followed to achieve the final results. For example, start by creating the context related to the problem to be solved, move to the possible solutions that can be adopted, then to the data supporting some of those solutions, and finally to the summary and conclusions. Another strategy is to start from the end. The first thing to tell the audience is the main results of your work or what is necessary to do to solve a problem. After that, it is possible to move on to the important details and processes supporting the story you just told. However, this strategy is recommended when the audience is known and there is already an established trust, so people want to know the so what directly. Summary. The reasons I enjoyed reading Storytelling with Data by Cole Nussbaumer-Knaflic are 2, its simplicity and clarity. It is not an exhausting book, and the way each chapter is presented drove me to read it as if it were a real tale, made of a beginning, i.e., what is the most efficient way to communicate a story with data, a middle process, i.e., find the best way to visualize data using charts and tables, and an ending, i.e., how to set up a story to communicate something clearly. Each chapter leads to the next in a very clear and organized way. No more, no less. Want to learn how to present something with data efficiently? This book is for you. 10 data storytelling examples and how they're made. Enter stage, data storytelling, a creative blend of statistical, fact-driven information and visual narration. Data storytelling is woven throughout the web and is no longer just the property of reports. Company year-end reviews, campaign landing pages, presentations, and even editorial journalism all use this powerful technique to tell engrossing, memorable stories. We've pulled together some imaginative data storytelling examples to showcase the sheer breadth of applications out there and hopefully give you a few ideas for your own data storytelling web project. Web design makes it possible to tell dynamic stories, but words alone can only go so far. What is data storytelling? Data storytelling harnesses the power of data to capture our imagination without overloading us with dry numbers and statistics. It's a powerful mixture. Data nuggets are transformed into imaginative visuals to tell a compelling story, combining the gravitas of fact with the accessibility and engagement of imagery. Humans have been using visuals to tell stories long before the internet, and even before written language emerged. 30,000 years ago, our ancestors painted animals like bison and depictions of themselves hunting onto cave walls, as well as carving glyphs to communicate other aspects of their prehistoric lives. While our mediums for expression have come a long way, visual storytelling remains an extremely powerful and universally accessible way of sharing ideas and connecting with others. Data storytelling on the web borrows this power to elevate statistics, numbers, and other data that can otherwise get lost in lengthy blocks of text. At its simplest, it takes these details and uses visuals to tell us about them. Used sympathetically, data storytelling can strengthen the hierarchy of a design, bringing attention to details that we don't want people to miss. How to use data storytelling? Data storytelling isn't just a fancy term for nicer-looking reports. From big business to journalism, it's used imaginatively all over the web to illustrate timelines, communicate facts and figures, and display other quantitative information. Companies use data storytelling for wrap-up annual reports, investor pitches, sustainability and impact reports, awareness campaigns, infographic content, and other marketing materials. It's a way to differentiate themselves and to tell brand narratives in a way that holds our attention. Media publications, like newspapers, frequently use data storytelling to tell stories that go beyond what's possible in print or to supplement a live TV broadcast. Data storytelling makes it possible to present facts and statistics in a way that's more imaginative. Whether web editorial, sales, or marketing content, data storytelling pushes information in front of us, highlighting its importance and making us pause to think about it and to realize its relevance instead of quickly scrolling by. 10 smart data storytelling examples. Okay, we've talked a lot about how visuals work so well to bring data to life. Let's now take a look at some data storytelling examples to see exactly how web designers weave numbers and other information together to tell powerful, captivating stories. Anarch. The proliferation of synthetic drugs, like opioids and methamphetamines, has caused a global health crisis. The United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, UNODC, crafted this awareness page to capture its impact across the world. We see data storytelling throughout this interactive page, which is made in Vev. Just a short jump down from the main page is a world map. Scrolling down reveals detail after detail about substance abuse and drug manufacturing, pointing to the countries they're associated with. By the end of this page, the entire map is dotted with this information, hammering home the message about how this is a global problem. This is one of the best data storytelling examples we found that is able to present a huge list of details in a way that's not only creative, but makes it easier to see their relevance. One simple way to pull off a map of data like this is to create it in something like Tableau, then embed the code in your Vev layout. Chit chart. Chit chart might be one of the most fun collections of data charts we've come across. From science to food, the whole point of this website is to celebrate the imaginative ways that data can be brought to life. There are so many amusing and downright weird displays of data here. If you're looking for inspiration in coming up with unique data visualizations, or just want to laugh, make sure to check out the data storytelling examples over at ChitChart. Spotify for Artists 2022 Fan Study. Spotify always impresses us with its database storytelling. The Spotify Wrapped that we get at the end of the year takes the data from our listening habits and spins it into an exciting audio and visual experience. They do a lot to personally connect with their listeners, but also show that they care for their artists. This 2022 fan study enlightens musicians about how listeners' habits and engagements can affect how many followers they have and how often their music gets streamed. From the main page of this report, it's broken down into several subsections, including engagement, merch, and release, with each section showing Spotify user data and explaining what it means. They also offer plenty of tips in helping musicians grow their fan base and get their music out to more people. With a dark purple background gradient, animated text on scrolling, and a variety of compelling infographics, Spotify for Artists comes through with a user experience full of great information and creative visuals. How much does your mobile weigh? Most of us take for granted the products we use in our day-to-day lives. But anything that gets manufactured also creates invisible waste. This data storytelling example built in Vev shows how products like cell phones, laptops, and even shoes all generate waste. They express the impact of this invisible waste through a series of stylized visuals appearing in a horizontal scroll, with a yellow question mark button guiding people to learn more. With colorful illustrations accompanying each panel, this is a far more engaging way to present this information. BetterUp 2021 Insight Report. Diversity and inclusivity are so important for forward-thinking companies. This data storytelling example from BetterUp shows how they fill their diversity report with visuals and color, humanizing who they are and showing their commitment to making their company a more inclusive space. Coalition of the Independent. Companies within finance generally have a lot of dense information that they need to convey. This report, titled A Manifesto to Better Support Independent Financial Advisors, is certainly a lengthy read, but it's full of engaging data visualizations. The bottom section in particular uses multiple animated graphs to showcase survey research connected to the report. This lets us digest this weighty qualitative information in a way that's far less intensive than having to read through it all. We've seen quite a few great data storytelling examples built with Vev, and you should definitely check this one for inspiration. Facebook 2020 Environmental Sustainability Report. So many big companies make it a point to run their operations in a more sustainable way, and reports like Facebook's are a way to show the public how they're helping. Sustainability reports overdo it with a company's accomplishments, but Facebook only touches on the major points of what they did in 2020, along with illustrated infographics backing these up. Visitors have the option to download the full report, which is more comprehensive. With a light touch of text and simple illustrations, Facebook expresses its commitment to helping the environment in a report that feels upbeat and straight to the point. Norgold 10-year anniversary of gold. This history of gold, put together for Norgold's 10-year anniversary, begins 4.5 billion years ago with the formation of our planet. This wonderful journey is full of three-dimensional graphics, scroll-triggered animations, and unique visuals communicating details about this precious metal. We really love the deposit formation section, with scrolling revealing a timeline of how gold is formed. As you move through it, more facts are revealed and the landscape changes, showing the natural forces that must take place for gold to form. This design shows a high level of artistry in its data storytelling, with intricate details, rich visuals, and interactions making it an immersive journey into this sparkling, precious metal. Impossible Foods Impact Calculator. Impossible has won over many vegetarians as well as meat eaters with their plant-based products like their popular Impossible Burger. They're committed to sustainability, but never belittle the audience, showing the positive impact you can have by changing your eating habits. This food impact slider shows the effect meat consumption has on the environment. The more you move the slider, which represents replacing eating meat with plant-based options in terms of weight, the more you see your environmental impact reduce. The landscape comes alive with more plants and animals the more you slide to the right. It's a powerful graphic that isn't about shaming us, but showing all the good that can happen to the environment by changing the way we eat. 2021 Digital Trend Content Report. This one's a springboard. We put together this 2021 Digital Content Report sample to give you an easy starting point for creating your own data storytelling designs with Vev, including plenty of ready-made data visualizations. Along with more traditional graphs, you'll also find more modern ones like this multi-axis, comparison line-based visualization. Vev makes it possible to embed data visualizations and scrolly-telling elements from Flourish, as well as other third-party platforms, making it easy to add whatever data representations you require. Create your own data storytelling examples. Data storytelling no longer requires tons of budget and dev resource to produce. With no-code and low-code web creation platforms like Vev, you can create your own data narratives with drag and drop. We have an extensive library of pre-coded interactive elements, including animated charts and 3D models, to help you get started. Embed data visualizations from any other tool, and publish your work anywhere once you're ready. This topic further developed the strategy and executing of storytelling with data and the acceptance of the responsibility to maximize the value of data presentations. The topic began with an introduction to one of the more popular sources of storytelling with data education and tips for drawing the audience's attention to the important objectives of your presentations. Next, we explored the structure of a story and the use of story characters used to present different elements of the story scenario. The topic concluded with examples of creative visualizations and sources for visualization inspiration. This topic focuses on the visual content of data presentations and the various choices for delivering reports that include static charts and pictographs and interactive data analytics dashboards. The topic begins with an overview of data visualization tools for connecting to data, creating visualizations, and sharing these visualizations in person and online. Next, we consider the best practices for visualization and dashboard design. Then, we view 30 examples of professional visualizations and dashboards in a variety of business and scientific domains. The topic concludes with a brief tutorial into the basics of Tableau visualization, including data preparation and source connection activities. A complete overview of the best data visualization tools. When dealing with data sets that include hundreds of thousands or millions of data points, automating the process of data visualization makes a designer's job significantly easier. Consuming large sets of data isn't always straightforward. Sometimes, data sets are so large that it's downright impossible to discern anything useful from them. That's where data visualizations come in. Creating data visualizations is rarely straightforward. It's not as if designers can simply take a data set with thousands of entries and create a visualization from scratch. Sure, it's possible, but who wants to spend dozens or hundreds of hours plotting dots on a scatter chart? That's where data visualization tools come in. What are data visualization tools? Data visualization tools provide data visualization designers with an easier way to create visual representations of large data sets. When dealing with data sets that include hundreds of thousands or millions of data points, automating the process of creating a visualization, at least in part, makes a designer's job significantly easier. These data visualizations can then be used for a variety of purposes: dashboards, annual reports, sales and marketing materials, investor slide decks, and virtually anywhere else information needs to be interpreted immediately. What do the best data visualization tools have in common? The best data visualization tools on the market have a few things in common. First is their ease of use. There are some incredibly complicated apps available for visualizing data. Some have excellent documentation and tutorials and are designed in ways that feel intuitive to the user. Others are lacking in those areas, eliminating them from any list of best tools, regardless of their other capabilities. The best tools can also handle huge sets of data. In fact, the very best can even handle multiple sets of data in a single visualization. The best tools also can output an array of different chart, graph, and map types. Most of the tools below can output both images and interactive graphs. There are exceptions to the variety of output criteria, though. Some data visualization tools focus on a specific type of chart or map and do it very well. Those tools also have a place among the best tools out there. Finally, there are cost considerations. While a higher price tag doesn't necessarily disqualify a tool, the higher price tag has to be justified in terms of better support, better features, and better overall value. Data visualization tools comparison. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of applications, tools, and scripts available to create visualizations of large data sets. Many are very basic and have a lot of overlapping features. But there are standouts that either have more capability for the types of visualizations they can create or are significantly easier to use than the other options out there. Tableau and Tableau Public. Tableau has a variety of options available, including a desktop app, server and hosted online versions, and a free public option. There are hundreds of data import options available, from CSV files to Google Ads and analytics data to Salesforce data. Output options include multiple chart formats as well as mapping capability. That means designers can create color-coded maps that showcase geographically important data in a format that's much easier to digest than a table or chart could ever be. The public version of Tableau is free to use for anyone looking for a powerful way to create data visualizations that can be used in a variety of settings. From journalists to political junkies to those who just want to quantify the data of their own lives, there are tons of potential uses for Tableau Public. They have an extensive gallery of infographics and visualizations that have been created with the public version to serve as inspiration for those who are interested in creating their own. Pros: hundreds of data import options. Mapping capability. Free public version available. Lots of video tutorials to walk you through how to use Tableau. Cons: non-free versions are expensive, $70/month/user for the Tableau Creator software. Public version doesn't allow you to keep data analyses private. Data visualization examples. Bottom line: Tableau is a great option for those who need to create maps in addition to other types of charts. Tableau Public is also a great option for anyone who wants to create public-facing visualizations. Infogram. Infogram is a fully featured drag-and-drop visualization tool that allows even non-designers to create effective visualizations of data for marketing reports, infographics, social media posts, maps, dashboards, and more. Finished visualizations can be exported into a number of formats: .png, .jpg, .gif, .pdf, and .html. Interactive visualizations are also possible, perfect for embedding into websites or apps. Infogram also offers a WordPress plugin that makes embedding visualizations even easier for WordPress users. Pros: tiered pricing, including a free plan with basic features. Includes 35 plus chart types and 550 plus map types. Drag and drop editor. API for importing additional data sources. Cons. Significantly fewer built-in data sources than some other apps. Examples. Bottom line. Infogram is a great option for non-designers as well as designers. The drag-and-drop editor makes it easy to create professional-looking designs without a lot of visual design skill. Chartblocks. Chartblocks claims that data can be imported from anywhere using their API, including from live feeds. While they say that importing data from any source can be done in just a few clicks, it's bound to be more complex than other apps that have automated modules or extensions for specific data sources. The app allows for extensive customization of the final visualization created, and the chart building wizard helps users pick exactly the right data for their charts before importing the data. Designers can create virtually any kind of chart, and the output is responsive, a big advantage for data visualization designers who want to embed charts into websites that are likely to be viewed on a variety of devices. Pros. Free and reasonably priced paid plans are available. Easy-to-use wizard for importing the necessary data. Cons. Unclear how robust their API is. Doesn't appear to have any mapping capability. Examples. Bottom line. Chartblocks has an excellent free plan, which is a big plus. The ease of use for creating basic charts and graphs is also outstanding. DataWrapper. DataWrapper was created specifically for adding charts and maps to news stories. The charts and maps created are interactive and made for embedding on news websites. Their data sources are limited, though, with the primary method being copying and pasting data into the tool. Once data is imported, charts can be created with a single click. Their visualization types include column, line, and bar charts, election donuts, area charts, scatter plots, choropleth and symbol maps, and locator maps, among others. The finished visualizations are reminiscent of those seen on sites like the New York Times or Boston Globe. In fact, their charts are used by publications like Mother Jones, Fortune, and The Times. The free plan is perfect for embedding graphics on smaller sites with limited traffic, but paid plans are on the expensive side, starting at $39 per month. Pros. Specifically designed for newsroom data visualization. Free plan is a good fit for smaller sites. Tool includes a built-in color blindness checker. Cons. Limited data sources. Paid plans are on the expensive side. Example. Bottom line. DataWrapper is an excellent choice for data visualizations for news sites. Despite the price tag, the features DataWrapper includes for news-specific visualization make it worth it. D3.js. D3.js is a JavaScript library for manipulating documents using data. D3.js requires at least some JS knowledge, though there are apps out there that allow non-programming users to utilize the library. Those apps include NVD3, which offers reusable charts for D3.js, Plotly's Chart Studio, which also allows designers to create WebGL and other charts, and Ember Charts, which also uses the Ember.js framework. Pros. Very powerful and customizable. Huge number of chart types possible. A focus on web standards. Tools available to let non-programmers create visualizations. Free and open source. Cons. Requires programming knowledge to use alone. Less support available than with paid tools. Examples. Bottom line. D3.js is only suitable for those designers who either have access to a programmer for help or have programming knowledge themselves. Google Charts. Google Charts is a powerful, free data visualization tool that is specifically for creating interactive charts for embedding online. It works with dynamic data, and the outputs are based purely on HTML5 and SVG, so they work in browsers without the use of additional plugins. Data sources include Google Spreadsheets, Google Fusion Tables, Salesforce, and other SQL databases. There are a variety of chart types, including maps, scatter charts, column and bar charts, histograms, area charts, pie charts, tree maps, timelines, gauges, and many others. These charts can be customized completely via simple CSS editing. Pros: free. Wide variety of chart formats available. Cross-browser compatible since it uses HTML5/SVG. Works with dynamic data. Cons: beyond the tutorials and forum available, there's limited support. Examples. Bottom line. Google Charts is a great option if a designer is somewhat comfortable with coding and wants a powerful free solution. Being able to use any SQL database as a data source makes it a good option for large data sets, too. Fusion Charts. Fusion Charts is another JavaScript-based option for creating web and mobile dashboards. It includes over 150 chart types and 1,000 map types. It can integrate with popular JS frameworks, including React, jQuery, React, Ember, and Angular, as well as with server-side programming languages, including PHP, Java, Django, and Ruby on Rails. Fusion Charts gives ready-to-use code for all of the chart and map variations, making it easier to embed in websites even for those designers with limited programming knowledge. Because Fusion Charts is aimed at creating dashboards rather than just straightforward data visualizations, it's one of the most expensive options included in this article. But it's also one of the most powerful. Pros: huge number of chart and map format options. More features than most other visualization tools. Integrates with a number of different frameworks and programming languages. Cons: expensive. Starts at almost $500 for one developer license. Overkill for simple visualizations outside of a dashboard environment. Examples. Bottom line. For creating dashboards, nothing else in this article really compares to Fusion Charts. If that's the project at hand, this is undoubtedly the most powerful choice. Chart.js. Chart.js is a simple but flexible JavaScript charting library. It's open source, provides a good variety of chart types, 8 total, and allows for animation and interaction. Chart.js uses HTML5 canvas for output, so it renders charts well across all modern browsers. Charts created are also responsive, so it's great for creating visualizations that are mobile-friendly. Pros: free and open source. Responsive and cross-browser compatible output. Cons: very limited chart types compared to other tools. Limited support outside of the official documentation. Examples. Bottom line. Chart.js is a good option for designers who need a simple, customizable, interactive visualization option. Its biggest selling points are that it's free and open source. Grafana. Grafana is open-source visualization software that lets users create dynamic dashboards and other visualizations. It supports mixed data sources, annotations, and customizable alert functions, and it can be extended via hundreds of available plugins. That makes it one of the most powerful visualization tools available. Export functions allow designers to share snapshots of dashboards as well as invite other users to collaborate. Grafana supports over 50 data sources via plugins. It's free to download, or there's a cloud-hosted version for $49 per month. There's also a very limited free hosted version. The downloadable version also has support plans available, something a lot of other open-source tools don't offer. Pros: open source with free and paid options available. Large selection of data sources available. Variety of chart types available. Makes creating dynamic dashboards simple. Can work with mixed data feeds. Cons: overkill for creating simple visualizations. Doesn't offer as many visual customization options as some other tools. Not the best option for creating visualization images. Not able to embed dashboards in websites, though possible for individual panels. Examples. Bottom line. Grafana is one of the best options for creating dashboards for internal use, especially for mixed or large data sources. Chartist.js. Chartist.js is a free, open-source JavaScript library that allows for creating simple responsive charts that are highly customizable and cross-browser compatible. The entire JavaScript library is only 10 kilobytes when gziped. Charts created with Chartist.js can also be animated, and plugins allow it to be extended. Pros. Free and open source. Tiny file size. Charts can be animated. Cons. Not the widest selection of chart types available. No mapping capabilities. Limited support outside of developer community. Examples. Bottom line. Chartist.js is a good option for designers who want simple, embeddable, responsive charts with a small file size. Sigmages. Sigmages is a single-purpose visualization tool for creating network graphs. It's highly customizable but does require some basic JavaScript knowledge in order to use. Graphs created are embeddable, interactive, and responsive. Pros. Highly customizable and extensible. Free and open source. Easy to embed graphs in websites and apps. Cons. Only creates one type of visualization, network graphs. Requires JS knowledge to customize and implement. Examples. Bottom line. Because of its single focus, Sigmages is a great option for creating network graphs as long as the designer is comfortable with JavaScript. Polymaps. Polymaps is a dedicated JavaScript library for mapping. The outputs are dynamic, responsive maps in a variety of styles, from image overlays to symbol maps to density maps. It uses SVG to create the images, so designers can use CSS to customize the visuals of their maps. Pros. Free and open source. Built specifically for mapping. Easy to embed maps in websites and apps. Cons. Only creates one type of visualization. Requires some coding knowledge to customize and implement. Examples. Bottom line. Polymaps is a good option if maps are the only type of visualization required, as long as the designer is comfortable with some basic coding. Conclusion. There is such a huge variety of visualization tools available to designers that it can be hard to decide which one to use. Data visualization designers should keep in mind things like ease of use and whether a tool has the features they need. Selecting the most powerful tool available isn't always the best idea. Learning curves can be steep, requiring more resources just to get up and running, while a simpler tool might be able to create exactly what's needed in a fraction of the time. Remember, though, that the tool is only part of the equation in creating a data visualization. Designers also need to consider what else goes into making a great data visualization. Most data visualization tools include free trials if the entire tool isn't free, so it's worth taking the time to try out a few before deciding on a single solution. Further reading on the TopTal blog. Data visualization, best practices and foundations. Strength in numbers, an overview of data-driven design. If you're not using UX data, it's not UX design. Dashboard design, considerations, and best practices. Mastering SaaS implementation, 4 tips for success. Understanding the basics. What are the best data visualization tools? The best data visualization tools include Google Charts, Tableau, Grafana, Chartist.js, Fusion Charts, DataWrapper, Infogram, Chartblocks, and D3.js. The best tools offer a variety of visualization styles, are easy to use, and can handle large data sets. What are data visualization tools? Data visualization tools provide designers with an easier way to create visual representations of large data sets. When dealing with data sets that include hundreds of thousands or millions of data points, automating the process of creating a visualization makes a designer's job significantly easier. What are data visualization techniques? Data visualization techniques include charts, line, bar or pie, plots, bubble or scatter, diagrams, maps, heat maps, geographic maps, etc., and matrices. There are many variations on these specific techniques that designers can use to meet specific visualization needs based on the data they're working with. Why do we use data visualization? It is almost impossible to discern information from large data sets with millions of data points unless some kind of visualization is employed, such as a basic graph or an interactive dashboard. How important is data visualization? Without data visualization, drawing conclusions from large data sets is almost impossible. Data visualization methods make information understandable for stakeholders. Visual best practices. This content is part of Tableau Blueprint, a maturity framework allowing you to zoom in and improve how your organization uses data to drive impact. To begin your journey, take our assessment. Link opens in a new window. Visual best practices are key to developing informative visualizations that drive your audience to act. A dashboard is successful when people can easily use it to derive answers. Even a beautiful dashboard with an interesting data source could be rendered useless if your audience can't use it to discover insights. Think not just as an analyst, but also as a designer and consumer. Dashboards should have interactive elements that are discoverable and predictable, follow a sensible, logical layout, and have a simplified design that makes complex decisions easier. It is important not to assume that people automatically know what it takes to clearly and effectively communicate with data. Here are a few white paper links to share on your enablement intranet. Visual Analysis Guidebook. Which chart or graph is right for you? Good enough to great. Designing Efficient Workbooks. You can find a list of books by renowned data visualization experts in the appendix. Adding these white papers and books to the resources of your analytics community can lead to a deeper understanding and internalization of visual best practices. Audience. The best visualizations have a clear purpose and work for their intended audience. It's important to know what you are trying to say and who you are saying it to. Does your audience know this subject matter extremely well, or will it be new to them? What kind of cues will they need? Thinking about these questions before you begin designing will help you create a successful dashboard. For example, you would present aggregated, summary-level data and KPIs to an executive audience rather than row-level transactions. Context. Make sure your views include context. Titles, captions, units, and commentary all help your audience to better understand your data view. Always strive to tell stories with your data and your visuals. Understand that good stories involve more than just data, and consider the following. Mind your aesthetics and know that what is effective is often effective. In other words, an effective view can create an emotional response and a genuine communication to your audience. Style is also important. Make sure that your views are consistent and pleasing to the eye. Your views are representative of who you are and what you care about. Dashboards that people can interact with are very engaging. Interactive elements allow your audience to manipulate the data, ask and answer questions, and arrive at findings on their own. This helps to foster trust in your data. Make your views vivid and memorable. Pay attention to structure and context. Chart choice. Chart choice should depend on the question you are trying to answer or a specific insight you are trying to communicate. There is almost always a trade-off involved, with different chart types each having their own advantages and downsides. You should always ask yourself if your chosen chart type best conveys the message you are trying to share and if it can be easily understood by your audience. The table below explains the chart types in Tableau's Show Me panel and when to use each. This should be published to your enablement intranet to educate new users. How your audience reads your dashboard is not a trivial consideration. Your dashboard's purpose is to help guide the reader's eye through multiple views in coordination and tell the story of each insight. Your dashboard needs a sensible flow and a logical layout of different pieces of information. The more you employ better dashboard design, your users will discover what's happening, why, and what's most important. Consider how you're guiding their eyes across the dashboard. Are you showing the user where to look next? Design theory gives us plenty of advice on how best to succeed. Layout is a key component of any successful dashboard design. Here are a few concepts you want to think about when building visualizations. Newspaper or Z layout. The most important content is put either at the top or the left of a visualization, as users move right and down for more specific content. White space, using negative space, blank spots, and padding to delineate sections of your visualization. Don't use thick grid lines, as you would see in a table. Size, more important pieces of content, KPIs, summary visualizations, etc., should be larger than other items. Device type. With device-specific dashboards, you can create the optimum viewing experience on desktop, laptop, tablet, and phone. Color. Color is one of the most powerful aesthetic features because it's an attention grabber. It's the first thing we notice, and it can immediately highlight specific insights or identify outliers, but it is not an unlimited design resource. Using color effectively is critical for producing quality data visualizations. Color types, alerting versus highlighting, creating custom color palettes, and consistency are key aspects to build into your standards. The correct use of color is critical for producing coherent and impactful data stories. The key factors that should be taken into consideration for any successful dashboard are: managing color choices. The primary colors that make up most of your design should be a neutral color. Using techniques like grayscale, you maximize the possibility for contrast and visibility of your data-driven points. Your extended colors, accents, emphasis, and alerts should reflect the brand. Any extended color should be used sparingly to draw attention to key messages within the data. Color types understand when to use sequential, diverging, categorical, highlighting, or alerting color motifs. Custom color palettes. Build your own company palettes to bring a sense of uniformity and provide guide rails for new users. Consistency. Double-check your visualizations to make sure a color, e.g. red, does not mean three different things. Similar and repeated colors can imply a relation where one doesn't exist. Accessibility. Remember to account for color blindness in the design process. Titles and subtitles. Titles are an easy way to make your dashboard more digestible for your audience. You add more context with subtitles that describe how to interact with the worksheet or dashboard. This is a powerful and simple way to make dashboards easier to navigate. In the example below, the question pulls the audience in and then tells the audience how to answer the question using the dashboard. Effective title and subtitle. Similarly, by changing your filter title to something more intuitive, you guide viewers through how to interact with the dashboard. Example of a filter. Tooltips. Tooltips guide the audience by highlighting important information. In the example below, the county and state are highlighted through a bold effect and color change, and we don't have to partition our scatter plot further. We add important and related dimensions and measures in the tooltip. This helps save space and declutter the dashboard so our viewers can focus on gleaning insights instead of interpreting the visualization. Effective tooltip. If the viewer notices something interesting in the tooltip, they can interact directly with the tooltip and watch the rest of the visualization come to life, highlighting related marks and outliers. Formatting a tooltip. Fonts. Typography is important. It can be tempting to use many font types and sizes in a dashboard. Don't do that. Instead, define a clear hierarchy for your typography. In the example below, there is a top, mid, and low-level font. The mid-level is blue to focus viewer attention. Color draws the eye to the most important level, which needn't necessarily be the top-level font. Top, mid, and low-level fonts, courtesy of the Big Book of Dashboards. Make sure that font selection is done to reinforce a visual hierarchy within your visualization through size, boldness, color, and type. Size, larger elements convey importance as they catch the eye. Save your largest fonts for KPIs, titles, etc. Boldness, bolder elements convey importance as they catch the eye. You can vary boldness throughout your visualization in conjunction with size. For example, your title and KPIs could both be 24 points font, but making your KPIs bold will pop them, allowing your audience to focus there first. Color, generally it's good to stick with gray and black hues in your titles, text, and KPIs. You can pop your KPIs by giving them a color treatment, but you have to balance this with the other colors used in your visualization. Darker colors will draw the eye, so it's wise to lighten your titles so they don't compete for visual attention. Dashboard size. By default, Tableau dashboards are set to use a fixed size. If you keep this setting, be sure to construct your visualization at the size which it will be viewed. You can also set size to automatic, so Tableau automatically adapts the overall dimensions of a visualization based on screen size. This means that if you design a dashboard at 1300 by 700 pixels, Tableau will resize it for smaller displays, and sometimes this results in scrunched views or scroll bars. The range sizing feature is helpful for avoiding this. Dashboard size range. If you're using Tableau Desktop to create dashboards, you can also design for specific device layouts so that on tablets, for example, your dashboard contains one set of views and objects, and on phones it displays another. See Create Dashboard Layouts for different device types for steps. Dashboard interactivity. When designing a dashboard, you need to consider your audience and how you can communicate to them that they can interact with the dashboard. Skilled users know to click and experiment, but new users may not have the knowledge or confidence. Your job is to help them make these decisions consciously, not by accident. It's important to make any interactivity obvious to your audience, even by creating subtitles to instruct them to click or hover for more information. Add interactivity to your data using filters, tooltips, and actions. Filters are the most obvious way to interact with a dashboard. Users can also interact with your visualizations by selecting marks and hovering to see tooltips. The actions you set up can respond with navigation and changes in the view. The table below enumerates the ways to create interactivity in your dashboards. When designing dashboards, consider how and why you incorporate interactivity into the dashboard. The following questions are helpful. Why does a viewer need to interact with the dashboard? What extras insight will be gained through the interactivity? Designing for performance. When we talk about performance, we mean the speed with which you can work in Tableau. That might mean the speed of data analysis. For example, if you work in Tableau Desktop on a large corporate database that takes forever in real time when you access it remotely. Or it might mean simply the speed of loading views or dashboards that you access on your desktop or from Tableau Server or Tableau Cloud. Performance and efficiency should be treated as part of the design process, not as an afterthought. Responsiveness is an important success factor for end users when viewing reports and dashboards, so making your workbooks run as quickly as possible makes for happier users. There are several factors that make a workbook efficient. Some of these factors are technical and some more user-focused, but in general, an efficient workbook is simple. Is it easy to create the workbook, and will it be easy to maintain in the future? Does it take advantage of the principles of visual analysis to clearly communicate the message of the author and the data? Flexible. Can the workbook answer multiple questions the users want to ask, or just one? Does it engage the user in an interactive experience, or is it simply a static report? Fast. Does the workbook respond quickly enough for the users? This may mean time to open, time to refresh, or time to respond to interaction. This is a subjective measure, but in general, we want workbooks to provide an initial display of information and to respond to user interactions within seconds. The performance of a dashboard is impacted by the following. The visual design at both the dashboard and worksheet levels, e.g. how many elements, how many data points, use of filters and actions, etc. The calculations, e.g. what kind of calculation, where the calculation is performed, etc. The queries, e.g. how much data is returned, impact of custom SQL, etc. The data connections and underlying data sources. Some differences between Tableau Desktop and Tableau Server or Tableau Cloud. Other environmental factors, such as hardware configuration and capacity for Tableau Server. The 30 best data visualizations of 2025 examples. Data is beautiful. It can inspire, improve lives, and bring out the best in people. To keep you inspired, we've gathered the best data visualizations of 2025. The chosen works cover a variety of topics from NASA asteroids in space to environmental issue statistics and futuristic LiDAR data graphs. With over 5.35 billion people using the internet in 2025, we're sure to witness even more amazing data visualizations every year. For now, get ready to dive into 2025's best data visualization examples. This list includes award-winning designs so you can get inspired by the best of the best. If you want to visualize your data, check out our Graph Maker or Chart Maker, which turns your numbers into beautiful figures. Or check out our collection of customizable chart and graph templates for all your data visualization needs. NASA's Eyes on Asteroids is a good data visualization example that provides a great user experience. The design is simple and intuitive, making it easy for users to navigate the site and find what they're looking for. The History of Pandemics is an infographic that presents a visual timeline of every known pandemic and includes information on how many people were affected, where it spread, and what caused it. Void of the Memories is the rarest data visualization on this list. It's a great combination of calligraphy and data visualization that tells the story of human memory and experience. The search for dark matter is one of the most important scientific questions in physics today, and this infographic, The Search for Dark Matter, serves as a great introduction to the subject. Enhance your data storytelling skills and creatively showcase your data by signing up for Visum's data visualization tools. Asterisk disclaimer. The comparisons and competitor ratings presented in this article are based on features available as of July 26, 2024. We conduct thorough research and draw on both first-hand experience and reputable sources to provide reliable insights. However, as tools and technologies evolve, we recommend readers verify details and consider additional research to ensure the information meets their specific needs. 1. NASA's Eyes on Asteroids. Image source. If you're interested in exploring data visualization topics in space exploration, check out this striking data visualization created by NASA. NASA's Eyes on Asteroids is one of the best data visualizations due to its exceptional design and functionality. This interactive visualization allows users to explore the asteroid belt and see the real-time positions of asteroids in our solar system. The design of this visualization is highly engaging and visually stunning, with a sleek and modern interface that is easy to use. The visualization features a 3D solar system model, allowing users to zoom in and out to explore asteroids and other celestial bodies. One of the key features of NASA's Eyes on Asteroids visualization is its real-time data feed, which provides up-to-date information on the positions and trajectories of asteroids. This feature makes the visualization highly informative and relevant to current events, allowing users to track potentially hazardous asteroids and see their projected paths over time. Design your own space exploration infographic using Visum, allowing you to create data visualizations easier and faster. Get inspired by one of our loyal Visum users, Mackenzie Stonis, economic research analyst at Greater Memphis Chamber, who said, "I have enough complications in life. I don't need my report building tool to add any fuel to the fire, she laughs. I personally had experience with similar applications before Visum and found their tools weren't as user-friendly as Visum, and their tools didn't handle data very well. They didn't provide the solution I really wanted. 2. Launch It by Shane Mielke. When graphic designer Shane Mielke published his book, Launch It, he also designed an amazing online data visualization depicting where his book could be purchased. This interactive data viz is a spinnable world map showing live data of where the Launch It book can be acquired. To make it more interesting, the user can change the colors of the map and shapes of the markers. 3. Hello Sun app. The Hello Sun app, created by Small Multiples, is a live data viz for your phone. The main dashboard visualizes the movement of the sun and moon in the sky in numerous cities in the world. The movement is depicted in circular sky maps that change color as the sun rises and sets. Each city is illustrated by a major landmark, which is only seen when the sun creates a shadow of it. The app also lets the user know how sun behaves anywhere in the world through GPS coordinates. That way they can plan out a veggie garden or know if the apartment they want to rent will have sun in the afternoon. 4. The world's population at 8 billion. Image source. On November 15, 2022, the world's population reached 8 billion. This is the first time in history that there have been this many people on Earth. And there can't be a more straightforward and visually appealing way to present this data than this visualization. What makes this big data visualization stand out is its simplicity and effectiveness in conveying the message. Using a circle to represent the Earth is a powerful symbol that makes the visualization easy to understand and remember. By using colors to represent continents and lines to separate countries, the visualization effectively conveys the complexity of the world's population in a simple and visually appealing way. 5. The top 10 largest nuclear explosions. Image source. This is a prime example of how creative design can bring data to life. Beyond the interesting data visualization, it uses a unique approach, similar to an infographic, to showcase the impact and size of the largest nuclear explosions ever detonated. It features a series of explosion image examples that help visualize each explosion's scale and impact. The use of images effectively conveys the destructive power of each blast in a way that is easy to understand and remember. The data is presented clearly and concisely, with each explosion listed along with its country of origin. 6. Visualizing the history of pandemics. Image source. This is an informative named Visualizing the History of Pandemics by Nicholas Lopan. It tells the story of all the known pandemics in the history of mankind, including the name of the disease, death toll, and the approximate date the pandemic occurred. While the exact number of victims of every disease is still under question, we can still learn from this graphic that super-spreading infections happened across all history of mankind. Statistical data of this infographic shows some diseases scaling with the growth of the population. Striking 3D illustrations of diseases are combined with the research data from CDC, WHO, BBC, Wikipedia, historical records, Encyclopedia Britannica, and Johns Hopkins University. The illustrations scale according to the recorded death toll to allow scanning and recognizing data easily. 7. It fell from the sky. Image source. Created by a UK-based designer, this infographic highlights beautiful data visualization of 34,000 meteorites that have fallen on the Earth. You will discover the map and timeline of the impacts per year, wrapped up in clean, stylish graphics. The visualization also shows spikes on the records and comparing the size of the biggest meteorites recorded. Meteorites hit almost all of Earth's surface, but some areas seem untouched. This phenomenon could be connected with Earth's magnetic fields. And who knows, the future may bring us even more meteorites to explore. If you're a fan of space and astronomy, you can learn more about meteorites from NASA website or check out this database of the Meteoritical Society. Try Visum, our all-in-one design for creating stunning visualizations on meteorites in space or other research topics you're working on. Get the most out of Visum's seamless integration with Google Sheets to create visualizations of live, easy-to-update data. Link to your Google Sheets account or import through a link. Select the page and data range and connect them to your Visum chart. When the data changes in the Google Sheet, it automatically applies to the live project. Simply press the refresh button. 8. Mars Mission 2024 Promo Reel. Image source. Vivid, rich in details. This 3D graphic uses beautiful data visualizations to share the vision of the future. Space missions and sending people into space are shown in an eye-catching red-gray palette. The complicated animation of terrain exploration, space module flight, and surface graphics are breathtaking. For a moment, you feel like a Mars mission crew member with your eyes on the stars. 9. Codex Atlanticus. The first data viz in our collection is the Codex Atlanticus. The Visual Agency, a data visualization group from Italy, has put together a beautiful digital library of Leonardo da Vinci's journals and notebooks. It's the largest digital collection of his work to date. But that's not all. It's all set up in a way that will amaze both data visualization fans and artists. The Codex Atlanticus won the Gold Cantor Information is Beautiful Award in the Art and Entertainment category. For history and Leonardo da Vinci buffs, this digital library is a rich resource for education and research. For data visualization fans, this library a wonderful example of how history can be digitized in a beautiful way, and it's no surprise why it's a part of our best data visualizations list. 10. Plastic waste pollution. Image source. Based on data on the distribution of total plastic waste generation by continent, Jamie Kettle created this personal project to estimate the percentage of plastic waste that was inadequately disposed of. The infographic provides a clear and precise picture of current surface plastic mass by ocean, measuring it in a creative way. We can see plastic waste management for every country in a colored bar chart. The names of the countries that report 100% of all their plastic waste handled properly are highlighted in bold. One of the major findings here is that the country's GDP and efficient plastic waste management aren't always correlated. You can see this by the irregular patterns shown in the infographic. If you are curious about plastic waste, here are some resources for you. A guide on plastic waste. Detailed info on plastic waste pollution from the UN Environment Program and impacts of mismanaged trash by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. If you're working on a research topic like waste management, use Visum's charts and graphs templates to highlight your findings and statistical analysis. Incorporate vertical bar graphs and align the values to the left, right, or center to match your overall design. 11. Fossil fuels. Image source. This profound and complex visualization tells us about one of the most pressing environmental issues, the increasing amount of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. While CO2 buildup is responsible for climate change, the trend is projected to continue, and the infographic provides insight into when this could happen. It's easy to notice a steady increase in fossil fuel emissions since the Industrial Revolution and the projected sharp rise in the concentration of carbon dioxide until 2100. Find more data on CO2 emissions in the Our World in Data Research, EPA website, and Worldometer stats. 12. For state of audio and voice. Image source. Prodigious Volcano is a data visualization agency based in Madrid that conducts research focused on human engagement and culture's impact through media. The four-state of audio and voice report is focused on how internet users residing in Spain engage with different types of audio expressions, such as podcast, audiobooks, voice assistants, and smart speakers. Their methodology involves dividing their analysis into two dimensions, audio as a product and audio as a tool. The report comes heavily designed with interactive data visualization charts. Each visualization displays the data as a whole or segmented based on the audio method selected. This provides a better user experience for the reader as they can filter information and turns the data into easily digestible content. This data visualization report has racked up multiple awards, including a Webby Award for People's Voice winner for Best Data Visualization in 2025. Related: how to create an animated PowerPoint presentation plus templates. Read more. 13. Water consumption. Image source. Hidden food production costs involve a great amount of fresh water. This stunning example of visualization created by Cheska Kirkland unfolds a story of water consumption required to produce certain kinds of food. From chocolate to cheese, coffee, and beer, every product requires a certain amount of fresh water to grow or be produced. The second part of the infographic is centered on the water resources available, including the map of the water footprint per capita per year and general availability of clean water to people. Nominated for 2 Sea Change Environmental and Sustainability Awards, the project won first-class honors in Final Design Futures. Raising awareness about water sustainability is vital as we move forward to a more intelligent, AI-driven future. We at Visum are inviting you to take up the challenge and create informative infographics that can invite change to various industry branches. Use our amazing free infographic library to create graphics for your personal projects as well as corporate or brand presentations. For more detailed info on the infographic creation, watch this video on the 13 major types of infographics. 14. Void of the memories. Image source. These mesmerizing circles were brought to you by one of the best-in-class street art and calligraphy authors, Pocras Lampas. Whether you would like to decipher this canvas or refer to it as a pure visual object, the unique Gothic calligraphy-tourism style is an eye magnet for anyone. The project is focused on the human consciousness and the theme of dreams in the context of human memory and experience. According to the author, the future is for global unity and harmony of cultures, and it's visible in the fusion of styles, techniques, and systems used in the project graphics. 15. Apollo. By Paul Button. Paul Button is a graphic designer who loves analyzing data and making it beautiful beyond belief. He has always been interested in the Apollo missions and all things space-related. Using collected data about every single Apollo mission, he created this data visualization. He sells it as an art print and is quite successful. The Apollo Data Viz poster is a real gem, not only for space exploration fanatics, but anyone who loves seeing beautiful data on a regular basis. Related: a data presentation guide, types, real-life examples, and how to read more. 16. Active satellites in space. Image source. Created for Scientific American, this colorful and bright data visualization displays satellites in an original way. Neat and stylish satellite cluster grids sort them by country, orbit, and class, business/commercial, civil, amateur/academic, or defense. The graphic details the mass of the satellites, 100 kilograms to 5,000 kilograms, category, test and training, communications, images, surveillance and meteorology, navigation and research, and the launch date, from November 1974 till August 2020. According to the graphic, 6 countries of the world control the largest amount of the satellites in orbit, and the U.S. owns the largest share so far. This data visualization is also a helpful addition to any white paper example, keeping readers engaged and making the data more exciting than just writing about it. 17. COVID vaccination tracker. Image source. Updated until July 15, 2022, this animated COVID vaccination tracker shows the percentage of people in the world given at least one dose. The infographic and data illustration displays data on the vaccination rollout plan in over 80 countries and 50 U.S. states. Data presented in this data visualization is sourced from the Our World in Data project at the University of Oxford. Uncluttered, simple graphs show the 7-day COVID vaccination rolling average as well. The interactive charts allow you to sort the percent of population given at least one dose by country or income. At the bottom of the page, we can see the detailed, in-depth COVID-19 vaccination statistics with type of vaccines offered: Pfizer-BioNTech, Moderna, Sinopharm, CanSino, Oxford AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Covishield, Sputnik V, etc., and vaccination priority groups for various countries separately. If you're working on an infographic that includes map data, like this example, try Visum's Map Data Visualization tool. It comes equipped with a handy hover tooltip that labels country names and square footage. If you don't need to show this data, you can hide it in the map settings. Create demographic visualization easily with Visum's map templates. If you need to edit your map infographic on the go, you can do so from the mobile app on Android and iOS. 18. Blindsight. Image source. It took 4 years to create this non-commercial self-funded project. Based on the eponymous sci-fi novel by Peter Watts, this visualization row includes breathtaking renders of the solar system, 4-dimensional objects as a system of data visualization and manipulation, spacesuit interface renders, cryocapsule graphics, and non-human species concepts. The visualization received over a dozen awards and nominations such as Best VFX Screen Power Film Festival 2020, Outstanding Achievement Award, Sci-Fi Short, Indie Short Fest LA 2020, Winner Best Sound and Music Fantasy / Sci-Fi Film Festival 2021, Award Winner Flick Fair 2020, Official Selection Miami International Sci-Fi Film Festival 2021, and so on. Space mysteries have always tempted mankind. With the outstanding talent of the team behind the project, we hope to enjoy the related movie one day. 19. Gravitational waves. Image source. Introducing to you another captivating space-themed project, the interactive visualization of gravitational wave events. Created for Science News, this space-time ripples design is amazingly minimalistic, slick, and informative. This enchanting spiral animation is saturated with useful data about black hole mergers or cosmic smash-ups. You can learn about the original and final mass of the mergers, total merger size, and other details of gravitational wave events. 20. Map of the Lighthouses of Ireland. This great animation was created as a part of 30-day map challenge, and it depicts all lighthouses in Ireland according to their timing and flash patterns. Here, the author visualizes data from the Irish Lights, the maritime organization delivering the safety service around the coast of Ireland. Aside from being a vital part of the water safety of coastal waterways, lighthouses are a symbol of hope and undying light even through the toughest circumstances. That's one of the reasons why this minimalistic graphic is so appealing. 21. Together, hierarchical positions of employees in a corporation. Image source. Good data visualizations are essential for conveying complex information in an easily understandable way. Look at this creative way of displaying the hierarchical organization structure in a large corporation with a presence in over 100 countries. This creative data visualization example looks fun and a bit otherworldly, with muffled but contrasting colors. Linking C-level executives to their subordinates in every branch revealed an intricate and complex corporation structure. It suggested that in most cases, Flat patterns would fail to represent company structures correctly because of the flexibility of human relations. 22. The search for dark matter. Image source. The search for the ever-elusive and intriguing dark matter continues. The problem isn't likely to get solved anytime soon, but here is a striking infographic for you to follow the lead. Quantum magazine created this interesting data visualization to represent the types of particles that dark matter could be made of. Axions, WIMPs, ultralight dark matter, or primordial black holes. Any of these could be a star candidate. Distributing every particle type along the scale according to their mass, the visualization also provides clear, concise descriptions for every type. Additionally, you can dive into the experiment's data. Are you the one to solve the new puzzle in particle physics? 23. Stolen paintings. Image source. This wonderful visualization was created for Visual Data, a column on La Lettera, the cultural supplement of Corriere della Sera. From 1900 to the present day, the infographic reveals the details of 40 stolen paintings. Neutral, minimalistic visuals highlight the painting's artist, the year when the painting was created, and the year of theft. It was shocking to find out that the majority of thefts took place during the last 20 years, 2000 to 2020, and most of the artworks have never been recovered. 24. The U.S. Election Twitter Network Graph Tool. Image source. These cutting-edge visuals from the U.S. Election Twitter Network Graph Tool enables a viewer to analyze social media interactions that define the online political landscape. In this case, we're tracking the influence and connections between various political figures. It's clearly visible which accounts the target account is most likely to mention or reply to. The network graphs clearly show the potential of certain accounts to generate new connections and influence their followers. You can search for specific nodes in the interactive map. All information flow between nodes is reflected in the color of the node edges. Working together with other open-source investigation tools, this graph is meant to increase transparency and help fight misinformation in social networks. 25. Map of a fly brain. Image source. The high-resolution nervous system map represented in the above graphic is a part of the fruit fly's brain, yet the complexity and harmony of the structure is astounding. Millions of connections between 25,000 neurons create a wiring diagram, or connectome, of connections in various parts of a fruit fly's brain. It's estimated that tracking all neuron connections in the fruit fly's brain manually would need 250 people working for 20 years at least. Google's computational power has helped to speed up this research, and scientists are aiming to create a full fruit fly brain visualization by 2022. 26. Freight rail works. Image source. Our next interesting visualization highlights the advanced layers of technology freight rail works uses across its infrastructure. Talented Daniel Krivoruchko and aggressive/loop teams produced a futuristic and dynamic animation of the data world around a train in motion. Magnificent waves of data light up outlines of the objects and then vanish in waves as the train moves forward to the smart city. Graphics of the giant city cluster zoom out to reveal the continent routes and the beauty of a simple railway communications network. In the era of semi-autonomous aircrafts and drones, the simple, down-to-earth railway system looks stable but innovative in this graphic. 27. The Korean clusters. Image source. Korean hospitals and churches experienced a burst of COVID infections among their visitors in January 2020. Having linked connections between the confirmed cases, scientists were able to trace back the first case and build a tree of contacts between the affected people. Tracking the timeline of the first patient's actions revealed that this person caused thousands of infections. Wandering sick for a few days resulted in over 30 more people infected. Subsequently, the Shincheonji church cluster with 5,016 infected people accounted for at least 60% of all cases in South Korea at that time. 28. The biggest tech mergers and acquisitions. Image source. Despite the fact that for most businesses 2020 was a devastating year with grim outcomes, this data visualization shows that big tech experienced a growth boost. It's not surprising that people working remotely increasingly need digital services of all kinds. The graphic shows the biggest tech mergers and acquisitions closed in 2020, together with a short description of the acquired company, acquiring company, deal amount, and deal date. While the chart is visually busy, it's also innovative and visually appealing. If you need a market report from your industry area, grab the data from Crunchbase and build your own custom branded infographic via our data visualization tool quickly and easily. Sign up free. 29. The Ancient Seven Wonders of the World. Image source. The civil engineering feats of humankind have reached the highest peaks of the mountains and deep into the ocean, and we have built pyramids, temples, and statues that are still standing today. The Seven Wonders of the ancient world are a collection of man-made structures that are considered to be remarkable feats at the time they were built. Pranav Gavali, a data scientist, created this graphic using data from Encyclopedia Britannica and Wikipedia to visualize the world's 7 ancient wonders along with their features and modern-day locations. The graphic perfectly illustrates how the 7 wonders were built and why they are considered a wonder of the world. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the only one of the 7 wonders that still stands today. Design an infographic like this one using Visum's pre-designed content blocks and infographic templates. Include live data visualizations by connecting to your Google or Excel spreadsheets. When connecting your Visum charts to Excel Online, select full sheets or only a specific range. Plus, when values change in your linked sheet, the chart as this is a prime example of how creative design can bring data to life. 30. Cell Towers Map of the World. Image source. This stunning, elegant, and creative visualization of 40 million cell towers is surely an unforgettable view. Based on OpenCLED, the world's largest open database of cell towers, this interactive map is so far one of the most precise publicly available data sources for telecom-related projects. We can see how the cell tower network lights up Europe and other big cities of the world. Simultaneously, vast areas of wilderness are still present on the map. Harsh climate and low population density in the northern regions of Russia and Canada, along with central areas of Africa and Mongolia, result in low quantity of cell towers in these areas. Close-up view of this cell tower map resembles the brain structure. Similar to the neurons, axons, and dendrites that create the communication network of the human body, cell towers keep humanity connected. Bonus data visualization. 31. House of Cards LiDAR. House of Cards from Brendan Dawes on Vimeo. Take a look at the last cool data visualization in this list, the rework of Radiohead's House of Cards video. This astonishing art was created on the basis of around 1 minute of the LiDAR data. Motion graphics of particles scattered around a person's face create an unforgettable image. The hero of the story in the video is clearly emotional, but we can't tell anymore whether this person is even human. AI-generated data can be beautiful, but how can you take control? 32. Price of a pandemic. Poverty spreads around the globe. Image source. In this classic data visualization by National Geographic, data is placed against the dark background for better contrast and readability. Simple, comprehensive charts show us the effect of the pandemic on the income of people in various countries. The authors distributed 3 levels of income range for countries with low and middle-class income to provide a clear picture of the current situation. Core findings of the report were that the pandemic pushed a tremendous amount of people to extreme poverty. Projected data is 100 million of people living on $1.90 per person/day. Based on the World Bank data, the infographic provides a wide view of the exact factors influencing people's well-being, from travel restrictions and job loss to wars, displacements, and higher food costs. Highlights at the beginning reveal rapid shrinking of income in examined countries across all continents on a mass scale. 33. Selfieicity, the science of selfies. Image source. Selfieicity is an innovative and engaging data visualization project exploring the selfies world. It uses a variety of visualizations to analyze selfies from 5 cities around the world. They collected over 120,000 selfies from the 5 cities and selected nearly 1,000 photos from each town. After collecting the images, they analyzed various metrics such as demographics, poses, moods, and features. The project then revealed exciting insights into the culture and social behavior of the people who take selfies. For example, the project shows that women take more selfies than men and that people tend to take selfies in public places rather than private spaces. The study was quite complex and yielded valuable insights, which presented a challenge when it came to sharing the results. However, the team did an excellent job creating visually appealing data visualizations to present the information. 34. Icebergs and climate change. Image source. Dedicated to travel adventures of this 4,200 square kilometer iceberg, this infographic alerts people to climate change. A giant chunk of ice the length of Puerto Rico broke off the Antarctic Peninsula coast to wander into the wild, and dangerously close to South Georgia Island, packed with wildlife. The graphic compares the size of the berg with 66 countries or territories and cites that the ice mass is so large that it cannot be captured in one photograph. Besides, we can also see impressive geodata on the wildlife from the IUCN Red List of threatened species inhabiting the endangered South Georgia Island. This topic focused on the visual content of data presentations and the various choices for delivering reports that include static charts and pictographs and interactive data analytics dashboards. The topic began with an overview of data visualization tools for connecting to data, creating visualizations, and sharing these visualizations in person and online. Next, we considered the best practices for visualization and dashboard design. Then, we viewed 30 examples of professional visualizations and dashboards in a variety of business and scientific domains. The topic concluded with a brief tutorial into the basics of Tableau visualization, including data preparation and source connection activities.